Joining the military had different paths for each of the athletes that we're highlighting in this video. For some, they were already among the greats in their field, but they put their careers on hold to serve their country. For others, their service took place well before they became household names. Regardless of which path they took, each of these men carried the weight of America on their back. While some were already familiar with the bright lights of stardom, some of these men knew the shadows of war before having ever seen that light. These men didn't just chase victory, they served to protect the freedom that made that chase possible. While we know that Veterans Day was on November 11th and is already past, we also know that just taking one day to celebrate our nation's heroes isn't nearly enough. With that in mind, and our ongoing celebration of the military during the month of November, here's a list of athletes who've served our country. Arguably the greatest baseball player of all time, Willie Mays was Major League Baseball's Rookie of the Year in 1951. Shortly after that season was over, Mays was drafted into the United States Army during the Korean War. Prior to reporting for military duty, he played the early part of the 1952 season. Commissioned as a lieutenant, Mays was stationed at Fort Eustis in Virginia. While there, he served as an athletic instructor before being discharged from the Army on March 1, 1954. Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball in 1947. About 5 years prior to that, Robinson was drafted into the Army in 1942 during World War II. After being assigned to a segregated unit at Fort Riley, Kansas, Robinson applied for admission to Offutt Candidate School. He was forced to overcome objections because of his race, but was eventually admitted to the school, then was commissioned as a second lieutenant in January of 1943. After having served 2 years, Robinson received an honorable discharge in November of 1944. Baseball all-time great Ted Williams is perhaps the greatest hitter who ever lived, and he's perhaps the only famous person to have served in 2 different wars. After some back and forth regarding what exactly his draft status was, Williams enlisted into the Naval Reserve on May 2, 1942. He finished the 1942 baseball season winning the Triple Crown. Williams then went on active duty in 1943. He was later given his wings and was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps in 1944. Williams then served as a flight instructor prior to being discharged in January of 1946. However, he still remained in the Marine Corps Reserves. 6 years later, in May of 1952, Williams was recalled to active duty to serve in the Korean War. This time around, he saw action as a naval aviator and flew over 30 combat missions. Rocky Bleier was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 16th round of the 1968 NFL-AFL Draft. During his rookie season, he was drafted into the United States Army on December 4, 1968. In 1969, he was shipped out to South Vietnam, responsible for operating a grenade launcher. On August 20, 1969, when his platoon was ambushed, Bleier was wounded in his left thigh. Next, an enemy grenade landed near him. As Bleier tried to jump over the grenade went off, injuring his lower right leg, while severely damaging his right foot. Ultimately, Bleier's foot was so damaged that he lost a portion of it. As a result of his injuries, doctors told him that he'd never be able to play professional football again. After undergoing several surgeries, Bleier was discharged from the military in 1970. Amazingly, Bleier would prove those doctors wrong. After missing all of the 1971 NFL season, he would eventually not only become a starter for the Steelers, he'd also go on to win 4 Super Bowl titles with the team. To get more details on Rocky's story, be sure and check out our video titled From Vietnam to the Super Bowl. While still the heavyweight boxing champion of the world, Joe Louis enlisted into the United States Army in 1942. While he never saw combat, his contribution to the war effort was immeasurable. While he was serving, Lewis put on numerous boxing exhibition matches to entertain the troops. Additionally, Lewis donated over $100,000 out of his own pocket to help support the military. While he was stationed at Fort Riley, Kansas, behind the scenes, he helped make it possible for future Baseball Hall of Famer Jackie Robinson to overcome racism and attend officer candidate school. Lewis was honorably discharged on October 1st, 1945. Arnold Palmer was one of the greatest golfers in history. He won over 90 tournaments, including winning the Masters 4 times. After attending Wake Forest University for 3.5 years on a golf scholarship, Palmer's roommate was killed in an automobile accident. Devastated by this, Palmer withdrew from school and decided to join the Coast Guard in 1951. After completing basic training at Cape May, New Jersey, he served in the Guard until 1954. 15 years after former heavyweight champion Jack Dempsey retired from boxing, the Japanese attacked at Pearl Harbor. At that point, the 47-year-old Dempsey decided to join the New York National Guard. Later, he resigned his commission there to accept the Coast Guard Reserve Commission. As the director of physical education, Dempsey made appearances at various camps and hospitals. He also helped to raise money for the war effort by appearing at various war bond drives. In 1945, wanting to see combat, Dempsey was assigned to the USS Arthur Middleton for the invasion of Okinawa. He was honorably discharged from the Coast Guard Reserve in 1952. Former Dallas Cowboy coach and Hall of Famer Tom Landry was drafted into the Army Air Corps when he was 19 years old. At the time, Landry had been attending college at the University of Texas for only a semester. After attending basic training as well as pilot training on B-17s, Second Lieutenant Landry sailed to England on the refitted luxury liner the Queen Mary. Once he arrived there, he was assigned to the 860th Bombardment Squadron, 93rd Bombardment Group, 8th Air Force. After completing 30 combat missions over Europe, Landry was discharged in 1945. We're going to take a time out from our story to ask you to like, subscribe, share, comment, hit that notification bell, and repeat when it comes to our videos. Now, back to our story. After graduating from the United States Naval Academy in 1987, David Robinson was taken #1 overall in the 1987 NBA draft by the San Antonio Spurs. However, prior to playing a minute of basketball for the Spurs, Robinson had to serve a mandatory 2-year active duty commitment to the Navy. After completing a tour as a civil engineering officer at Kings Bay, Georgia from 1987 to 1989, Robinson left active duty to begin his Hall of Fame NBA career. Hall of Famer Rod Carew was one of the greatest hitters in Major League history. The year before he made his Major League debut, Carew joined the United States Marine Reserves in 1966. Serving as a combat engineer, Carew was enlisted for 6 years. Reflecting on his time in the military, Carew credits the Marines with not only helping him learn to control his temper, but also instilling discipline in him. Legendary college basketball coach John Wooden won 10 national titles as head coach of the UCLA Bruins, including 7 titles in a row. The Wizard of Westwood's teams also at one point won 88 consecutive games. However, well before his teams did any of those things, Wooden enlisted into the United States Navy in 1942. Serving as a physical education teacher, Wooden reached the rank of lieutenant before being discharged in 1946. Jesse the Body Ventura is one of the most well-known figures in professional wrestling history. Ventura also served as the governor of the state of Minnesota from 1991 to 1995. Prior to any of this, Ventura enlisted into the United States Navy in 1969. Working as a member of the Navy's underwater demolition team, Ventura served until 1975. Making his NFL debut at nearly 27 years old, running back Mike Anderson was the NFL's Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2000 for the Denver Broncos. Anderson graduated high school in 1992. Afterwards, considering the military as a potential career move while also wanting to earn educational benefits, Anderson joined the United States Marines. He served as a communicator in an artillery battery, and after completing 4 years, Anderson was honorably discharged in 1996. While some of these men were drafted into service and some joined voluntarily, doesn't matter how they got there. What matters is what they did once they arrived. All of these men, regardless of their job, served their country honorably, more often than not during times of war. These are the athletes who served, and their journey is far more heroic than anything that could appear in any statistics. These were the stories of champions who wore 2 uniforms and became heroes in both. Thank you all for watching our video. We appreciate you spending time with us. Be sure and come back next Monday for more of our celebration of athletes who served our country. Thanks again, and see you next Monday.